huge sophomore season from Caleb now that his line is getting better.
Well, it better be a very good year from Caleb. Like, there's no excuses. Last year he got criticized, fairly, but there were excuses for him. He's obviously a rookie. But now rookies are coming in, not all of them, but coming in and playing well. C.J. Stroud, of course, a couple years ago. Jaden Daniels this year. Bo Nix this year. And he's got, assuming, they got Jonah Jackson, so him and Thuney, assuming the offensive line is fine, you got the brilliant mind, we think, offensively. Ben Johnson now is your head coach. You still got the three great receivers or very good receivers.
Well, Keenan's a free agent.
But Rome, Adunze, and DJ Moore, just those
enough.
two are very good.
Agreed.
DeAndre Swift, the defense started the season well, and when they were in the hunt for a while, the defense was playing well. So Caleb, and again, look, we've seen Sam Darnold and Geno Smith, and I'm not saying it's automatic that if he doesn't play well this year, he's a bust. But I'm saying there's really no excuse for him to not go out and play well.
He might.
But I'm just saying guys can turn it around.
Right,
like Darnold,
but it can still be a bust.
If Darnold goes on to have a pretty good career, then
he's a bust
you wouldn't
that
call
turned
him
it
a
around.
bust. Yeah. So he's got to get it done, and there's no excuses.
When you look at the season, it was so bad statistically, and it was so bad in terms of what the expectations were. And I thought they were, like Nick, I didn't think they were going to be as good as what Nick thought, but I thought they were going to be very good with the weapons that they had, the money that they had put into the team, the resources, and Caleb's potential. And then to come out, they were 32nd in the league in rushing. I think they were 31 in points, 27th in passing. And when you look at Caleb, his numbers aren't horrible, touchdowns to interceptions, quarterback rating, all those things, but it's the bar is set so low based off of last year's performance. What's considered an exceptional season? Is it just growth by him, or do they have to be competing to win the division? Like there's a different bar.
They probably have to have team success.
Well, they set the bar so low, and his bar is now here versus expectations. That some growth would be considered an excepptional season.
I don't think they would. I don't think just growth would be considered exceptional. Well, I think that would be considered. Sorry, not to do a phrase. Okay. Acceptable, but I think an exceptional season would be you make the playoffs and Caleb looks really good. What I was predicting for them last year. I'm not going to say win
Super Bowl.
No. What I'm saying, you're right. I'm not trying to let myself off the hook, but I'm saying, I guess, less than what I was predicting for him last year. But Caleb looked really good and make the playoffs. I'm not going to say win the division because last year a 14-win team didn't win the division. But
the reason I said that is because a catastrophic season would be something similar to this year.
Yes.
Where now not only is the team losing faith in him and confidence in him, but he probably loses confidence in himself. And now you have this potential star who has back-to-back years of terrible production. And now everybody's looking as like, okay, what do we do? Where do we go from here?
And if you're the guy, and I believe Caleb's the guy, then in one of your first 2 years, you show it. There's not a lot of examples of guys who popped in year 3. Now, people say what they want about my belief in Trevor. Trevor in year 2 was excellent. And then, regressed, and maybe that was a mirage. But you know what I mean?
He was good.
Excellent.
He looked like a franchise.
He looked like a franchise quarterback who played really well as the season went on. Right, all of it. There's not a lot of examples of guys who, in modern NFL, who were really bad year 1 and 2. Baker was kind of the opposite.
Yeah,
Baker was really good for a rookie, set the rookie touchdown pass record, and then was bad in year 2 and then came back up in year 3. It's a massive year for Caleb. Last year, I think, was fairly a lot of it I think a lot of people put on the coaching disaster that it was. You fire the offensive coordinator, you fire the head coach, you promote this, all of it. They got the coach they wanted. They still have the weapons. They are prioritizing the offensive line. I think there's real expectation and it's fair.
Yeah. No, if you play poorly and you're not winning and you're playing for bad teams and bad coaching, and then you move on and then play well, you're not a bust who turned it around. You were in a bad situation. All right? That's just the reality of it. Okay. So we get married to these words and try to make sense of them and be like, well, he was a bust. And so it's like Caleb, considering the circumstances that he was in, he actually played pretty well. When you really look, now that we have all the information and we can look at everything retroactively, you can be like, actually held together pretty well, for sure. And this team was an absolute mess. And yet he still did show signs where you were like, oh yeah, that's why he was the number 1 overall pick. So that's exciting. Do you expect a big year from Caleb Wright? How do we define a big year? If the O-line is actually legitimate and they can actually get a run game going, then yes, I expect him to play significantly higher level football, and be better. And if he doesn't look like at least like a Bo Nix, then yeah, then that would be concerning to me. I'm not expecting him to be perfect. And that's why I'm using Bo Nix as an example, because Bo Nix had plenty of moments where you're kind of like, huh, but still put up really awesome and even like record numbers. And obviously Jaden Daniels put up, unbelievable numbers and obviously went to the NFC Championship game, etc., etc. But it's just like, that's kind of the floor now that you have Ben Johnson. Now, if there's a feeling that Ben Johnson is overwhelmed, that there's too much going on, etc., etc., well, then, yeah, again, you reevaluate. Because people are saying, oh, he had such high expectations last season, and this was supposed to be the best situation that a rookie quarterback ever went into. Yeah, that's what people thought, and it ended up not being accurate. So if something ended up not being true, don't hold them to the standards of something that ended up being false. That doesn't make sense. So yeah, as long as this all holds up, where they actually build a legitimate, competent roster, and the team is, actually well run, then yeah, there would be zero excuses for Caleb at this point. It would fall on Caleb. Because I'm trying to think of an example where, like, let's say the defense is awful. And I'm not saying it's going to. I'm just trying to think of, like, potentially, like, they get the offense, like, everything's really locked in place. Great O-line, great coach, etc. But the defense is awful. And now it's, like, forcing Caleb to, like, constantly throw or be in shootouts or whatever. And I'm trying to think of, like, what could that look like? Could that put too much pressure on him? Would we have to kind of, like, kind of fight through the weeds a little bit? And I just think at this point, with Ben Johnson, it's like, again, I try to have very realistic expectations. I'm not trying to put the floor of him where it's like, next season, man, he better be like in the MVP conversation. He better blow everyone away. He needs to be better than Bo Nix or Jay Daniels. No, Bo Nix and Jay Daniels have the head start now. They have the continuity of a coach and a team with a lot of the same pieces. They also played high-level football last season, which they're going to be able to build off of. There's a lot less for Caleb to build off of. In fact, there's a lot more that's going to be rebuilt for Caleb. There's not going to be much rebuilding for Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. And so by comparison, people are going to constantly look for reasons to kind of, pretty much nitpick Caleb. And I understand why. I'm not playing, a sad song for Caleb. He's the number 1 overall pick. And, and you're the quarterback. And, so that just is what it is. And so it's understandable, but I think it's so much more important to see how this team comes together. But when you have a coach like Ben Johnson, when you're building the O-line, you have the weapons. Your excuses start to run out. And so, I do expect I'm not going to say big year. I'm just going to say a really good year. My expectations are that he is going to be significantly better and that he can have a big year and a great year. I really do believe that. But it's just like, in terms of what expectations are, considering what everyone did last season to Caleb, I think it's more important now just to kind of just be a wait and see. But I do expect him to be significantly better. and show us incredibly high level football. The reason why I'm hesitant to say expect a big year, because I still want to give him room to fail, because he's owed that. Because he had a lot of failing moments last season, but it was because he was like getting no support. It's like, I expect a kid to fail to learn how to read when no one's teaching him how to read. And now it's like, well, now that you have a teacher, I expect you not to say any words wrong. It's like, well, no, he finally has a teacher now. So of course he's still going to like have trouble with like, tricky words. So the problem is when we lump these expectations, it then kind of just creates the momentum for just further, deeper criticism. And I just think last season was such a wash, that it's just not even funny. So to me, it's like I'm just really looking at him right now through the lens of a rookie quarterback this coming season. I know it's the second year, but to me, it's like, practically his rookie year. And then the extra variable is that it's now Ben Johnson's first time being a head coach. He has to figure that out as well. So there's still other things that, both these guys, quite frankly, have to figure out, and they're going to be doing it together. So I'm anticipating some issues. I'm anticipating some roadblocks. I don't think it's just going to be, they're just going to hit the ground running and just be, next level. And if they are, then quite frankly, it really kind of solidifies just how special Caleb is as a quarterback and how special Ben Johnson is as a coach. So if that happens, and that's an awesome place to be in, obviously, for the Chicago Bears. But I don't think that needs to be the expectations just because one day we're expecting the Chicago Bears, Caleb, and Ben Johnson to be special, right? That to me is more of kind of like in the development aspect of all of this. So it's going to be interesting. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears? Really, I got two questions. One, what do you expect from Caleb and the Bears? And what do you think should be expected? What do you think realistic, grounded expectations should be? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.